I'm back with Jeanine Englert, who just read a sample from Cinderella's Charade with the Duke. And we got a really yummy little intro that settles this so clearly in Regency world. We get the idea of the stagecoach versus the Duke's coach, the importance of the right governess for the family, the disapproving butler. I'm really curious. For you, you've written historical mysteries,
hmm
Scottish romances, and then this is your first Regency. How was it coming to the Regency period? Does it feel different at all?
Feels so different. And one of my biggest challenges is just figuring out like how the characters can properly interact in society and in the world and just how they address each other. I spend an inordinate amount of time just trying to figure that out. So it's very different versus, the Georgian time period that I wrote in, where there were not these restraints on who could be with whom, how you spoke to each other. So that was the hardest part, I think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Did you find that that influences the scope of the story or the texture of the romance at all?
Yes, because there's some scenes that become more intimate and romantic because they're really not allowed to have proximity or touching, or gloves or not gloves and all those kinds of things. And there's a cute little scene in the book where there's the language of fans, which was kind of fun. I think I could spend a few days in that rabbit hole of looking up what all the fan gestures mean, but just things like that where you would foresee that that's going to be a moment of intimacy or romance. And then other times where it's really hard to have your characters together without it being scandalous. So that was the biggest challenge is just figuring out the scenes, which ones I could and could not do based on, their ranking and what was appropriate and inappropriate. So yeah, I'm still learning that, I think, as I go on, to be
Well, and
honest.
there's also the like what was put down on paper back then about what was appropriate, and then what do readers think is appropriate or not appropriate?
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
think that is also hard because it depends on some of the resources you use and, what your reference points are and what reader expectations are, just like you said. So it's a balancing act to be sure. Yeah.
Yeah.